Okay, you could argue maybe I'm kicking this off a little early. It's 7:49 p.m. Oh, that's interesting. The external temperature for this car is 103. I'm at 84% battery. So I've kicked off camp mode. So I'm going to try out the Model Y tonight. Try to do a fair comparison, at least close I can get. I will tell you already, it feels ever so slightly not as hot. Let's put it that way. I mean, that's not saying it's cool. It's just not quite as burning hot as it was yesterday. But we're only talking about a few degrees difference, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, here we are. 80%. It's 9:08 at night. The car says it's 100 degrees. I know it's more like 95 outside or something like that. What I find really interesting is the fan is barely blowing. I mean, the car is fairly comfortable. It's not, I mean, in the very back, it's still a little warm, but it's getting there. Amazing how different it is between this and the Model 3. But anyway, good night, guys. Okay, so here it is, 5:15 a.m. The car says the external temperature is 86, and the phone says it's really 80. Anyway, so we're down to 70%. That's almost 13% right on the spot, isn't it? Anyway, more or less wake up time. Okay, here we are next morning. It's battery state of charge is 67%. It's 8:05 a.m. So it's been what, 8 hours? 8 hours time. So we use 16% battery. And it's 84 degrees by the car. So that's the end of this. So the differences. So obviously the Model Y, I talked a little bit before about how because the roof is higher, you have a little bit more room to move around. That's very true. And it's a liftgate in the back, so or an SUV, so you have more room to reach into the back as well. So for those of you who don't know what a Tesla is, there's in the Model Y there's two cubbies, one on each side behind the rear wheels, where you can just push stuff into. And then there's also the sub trunk that you can push stuff into as well. So that gives you room to put stuff in and organize with. So as far as the so the air conditioning, I noted on Model 3, I'm sorry, on Model 3, the rear air conditioning was not running. However, on the Model Y, it is. I'm not sure what the difference is. Maybe a slight difference in how it's set up. And there is a 3-year difference or 2-year difference in the models, or between the cars. So anyway, I was actually kind of surprised to find that I had cold air blowing on my head this morning, but that's fine. I mean, that's actually preferable, because if you don't want it to blow on you, you can always roll the vents down to leave room, right? So that's not a big deal. So anyway, so I know from previous experience, yes, you can squeeze between the seat backs and get into the front seat. That's not quite as pretzel making as it was with the Model 3, just because the roof height is higher, but there's still something there. I've done it in the past, so I did not reproduce it, but that's the way it is. So anyway, was it comfortable? Yes, absolutely comfortable. If if I was to compare the two, I would rather have the Y, obviously, for sleeping purposes. However, the reason for taking the 3 is the FSD, right? So until I get FSD on my Model Y, or if I replace the Model Y with another Model Y that has FSD, the 3 would be the more preferable option. Anyway, whatever, peace and harmony, it's all good. But so I'll have to go back and compare the videos and see what the energy use was. Obviously, it was much lower. Well, it was lower in the Model Y. But that's the way it is. The 3 is much older. Anyway, peace and harmony. So the purpose of doing the camp mode side-by-side comparison, so it's not side-by-side, it was one night and then the other night, right? So it's not exactly the same. But the point was to try to compare the differences. Granted, with the Model Y, it seemed like it was ever so much cooler, or just slightly cooler. And from the weather report, it sounds like, yes, indeed, it was cooler. So anyway, so for the sleeping time, which was 8 hours for both nights, the Model Y got 13% usage. The Model 3 got 13% usage. The Model Y held to 10%. So, wow. The Model Y was very efficient. More efficient. But I didn't realize it'd be that much. Because, like I said, I seem to remember 13% in the back of my head. But anyway, whatever. Peace and harmony. But that was heating, right? Because it was cold. All right, so going back up to the total time. So I cut the Model Y 1 hour short. I guess I didn't think about the time exactly. So anyway, 13 hours on the Model 3, end up with 20% usage. 12 hours on Model Y, end up with 17% usage. And if you consider the fact that there's an hour difference between those two, maybe it makes some sense that it was a very close comparison. But I'm more focused on the 8 hour sleeping time. There's a bigger percentage difference there. But like I said, on the Model 3, it's not enough to go like, no, I'm not going to do it. I think it'll work out either way. So it's close enough. And it's easily explained by the fact that the Model 3 doesn't have a heat pump, right? That's the main difference. And the Model 3 is older, but it's not that much older. It's only 2 years older. But anyway, there you go. I hope that this is somewhat interesting and helpful.